touching all kinds of paper, and I ain't never gonna give a fuck about a hater, cause I know I got soul, baby. Baby, I'm gonna shine forever, and I'ma stay touching on that wood and leather, cause I know I got soul, baby.
What up, gang, gang, gang? You already know what it is. This is Guy King TV. I'm Patai, and I wanted to do a follow-up video to the video I did yesterday about women when they reject the masculine side. What I want to do today is talk about men and what happens when they reject the feminine side. How does this play out? Now, as I said yesterday, and I have to reiterate it every single time because I want motherfuckers to really get this shit. Everybody has masculine and feminine energy. So with that being said, you are also have feminine. You got masculine energy and you got feminine energy. Your mama's a woman. Your daddy's a man. So you have both. And archetypically, it shows up. Now, sometimes I try to bring a little bit of astrology into it just to get everybody a picture of it, right? I like to give everybody a picture of how this plays out. Now, what I want to do is talk about how this manifests in your everyday life and how does it, come about. When a man doesn't have a healthy balance of his masculine and feminine energy and he rejects his feminine side, he becomes too ingrained in the logical world. He becomes encased too much in the dimension of physicality. He does not have spirituality at some type of forefront in his life. And keep in mind, spirituality is feminine. Okay? This is the realm of the feminine. This is why when you can go back to any motherfucking period in time in society, there was always masculine and feminine deities that were consorts to each other. You see what I'm saying? There was always showing balance, especially in African core literature. You will always see that the feminine was never outside of the masculine, and the masculine was never outside of the feminine because they both had roles. So when we talk about this in terms of the masculine nature, and if they reject the feminine nature, this also makes you have a hard time in your life dealing with women, and a lot of that can manifest from you not having the best relationship with your mom. Now, archetypically, the mom is the first person that you are able to identify with what is femininity. It's the first archetypical energy to let you know what a woman is. How does this maternal energy manifest? And a lot of the times when for those who are into astrology, one thing you'll realize and what you'll know is that in astrology, the mother is the moon. And you need to know that. Now, it could always be the father in terms of given circumstances where your dad is the one who actually got custody of you and takes care of you. He's the sole guardian. That's going to reflect on the masculine and the feminine as well. You're going to see the maternal skills of the father from there, and then you'll read it also from Saturn and the sun. But that's another story. But what I'm speaking about is you being able to understand that in astrology, the moon is archetypically your domestic arena, your home, your mom, her emotional nature, her subconscious nature, and this is your first mind. And so with that being said, your emotional nature comes from your mother. Your ability to be able to understand women comes from your interaction with your mother. If you don't have a healthy relationship with your mom in terms of being able to understand how this plays into you dealing with women also, because in astrology, Venus is how we project that energy onto the woman. These things are very important because when you really don't understand that you are masculine and feminine, you got a part to play in that. You also have femininity. You have to be able to learn how to discover that within yourself so you can have a better relationship with women. You have to know. Your ability to understand women better is based on you being able to have a healthy relationship with your own feminine side. Now, once again, when it comes to dealing with yourself, understanding that your femininity as a man shows up in many ways. It shows up in ways of you being able to be creative, how you're able to be creative. It shows up in your artistic endeavors. It shows up in how you show love. Everybody has maternal energy. Everybody, as a man, let's get it clear. As a man, if you got kids, you exude a side of maternity. You exude a feminine side. You exude that protective nature, because femininity has a protective nature as well, just like the men has a protective nature. And when you got kids, you know, as a man, you might let your, if you, for you guys who got daughters, you might let your daughters play with your hair. You might play with their hair. You might watch girly shows with them. You might play dolls with them. You might have tea parties with them. You know, all these things are aspects of you being able to tap into your femininity for you to be able to find that common ground with your son or your daughter, you know, because that helps them have a healthy aspect of what the archetypical male or female is as well. Now, for you men, also understanding that tapping into your femininity means being able to hug your sons, being able to kiss your sons, being able to hold them. You see what I'm saying? Because boys need love. And they need love from the father. And they need to be able to know that as a man that you can show love, because you got too many of y'all out here who reject their feminine side. And so we grow up and we bottle this energy up. Now you dealing with women, you dealing with somebody, and your ass can't even motherfucking express how you feel. And it's weird because a lot of this doesn't necessarily come from the men, believe it or not. It comes from a lot of women who may also have either a disdain for men, or they may have a very skewed view of how men should act, because the father's not there. So they're trying to do their best in terms of suck it up, don't cry. You a man, right? Be mommy's big boy. Now, if the father's doing it, the father may have an unhealthy realization of how to project his own masculinity. He may be the one to tell you, nah, suck it up. You a man, don't cry. You don't cry. But the reality is this. As a man, you have emotions just like a woman. You have emotions just like anybody else on this planet. And you feel those. And what happens is when a man when he's not able to tap into his feminine nature, his emotional side, which is his emotional mind. Your logical side is your very rational mind. It's very masculine in nature. It's focused on a goal. It's focused on a mission. It's not focused on emotions and abstract thought. Those are feminine by nature. So when a man does not have any access to that, or he blocks that, it makes it very hard for him to be able to understand how to communicate these very complex but simplistic feelings as well. Hey, if you feel a certain type of way, you can express it. Because a lot of the times we feel that we don't want to give our guard up or our vulnerability up to the woman, because sometimes we may feel like they'll use it against us. They'll use our vulnerability against us. But you have to know that your vulnerability is strength. And these are things as a man you have to know. You have to know that your vulnerability is your strength. And you have to feel that. You have to know that at the end of the day, I have a right and I'm entitled to my feelings. I'm entitled to express myself. Remember, expression is very important. Expression manifests in many ways. And this is a very, very, very feminine perspective. Expressing. You see what I'm saying? That's a form of communication. You got to be able to do that. And you should be open to being able to do that. It's very important. One thing about this is, like I said, as a man, if you are rejecting your feminine side, you are encasing yourself into a dimension of nothing but structure, rigidity, as well as nothing but the physical dimension. You have no perception of a holistic worldview. You can't see the world from a holistic standpoint. You see it as black and white. You don't see gray. And the thing about that is that you want to be able to know that there's going to be times where this is going to allow you to be able to go to the next level by being able to incorporate this feminine side of your energy. Your emotions are very important. You can express that in many ways. You can internalize it and realize that you can have a more rational view of the world when you actually bring it into perspective. Now, as I said, this is one of the issues that a lot of women have with a lot of men, because a lot of men feel like they have a hard time tapping into their emotions. It's not that your emotions are foreign. You are very aware of your feelings. What you have to do is start to understand them and listen to them. Because when you don't, as a man, if you don't tap into your feminine energy and understand it, two things either happen. If you reject your feminine energy, which in reality you're really rejecting a side of yourself that is very fundamental to you understanding women. You got to understand this. You won't understand women that as good as you think until you really understand how to deal with your feminine side. If you're so masculine that you reject femininity, then everything a woman does will fuck you up. It will make you upset. And you will find yourself saying shit like this, like, why can't you just be like this? Why can't you be like this? Your mind is trying to project on her to be more masculine in a way that you don't understand. You think she's supposed to be like you. You think she's supposed to be consistent. They are not consistent. You have to know that off top, they is not consistent. So you got to be cool with that. You got to be cool with knowing that it don't happen like that. You know what I'm saying? So we got to go through these whole level of steps to be able to understand the feminine side. Because once you understand yourself, then you can have a better understanding of the feminine energy outside of yourself. You know, I can't make it up where I've seen plenty of times where men will just silence themselves. They won't react to something that a woman says. It's not for you to become a robot. It's for you to be able to say, hey, I have feelings too, and I just want you to know that what you're doing is affecting me in a way that I don't think is very positive for me. And it won't help this relationship, because the way I feel makes me really either want to pull back and withdraw, or it makes me want to leave you, or it makes me feel like this about this situation. And we talk about it because we don't want to react, but at the same time, there comes a point where if you are a man and you don't express your feelings, then you will more than likely at some point implode. And a lot of times these can come about in many ways. You could be, whether it's you punching the goddamn hole through the wall or you getting very verbally abusive. But allowing yourself to be able to have a healthy outlet of expressing yourself will help you internalize that feminine energy and have an outlet to express it. Once you can get that out to be expressed and you feel validated by your experience of being able to say, hey, I wanted to express myself and I did. Now we're able to find a common balance between the masculine and the feminine. Very important. But, I didn't want to be too long. I just feel like dropping a part 2 to that because I think it's important to talk about the masculine side as well. So you know what it is, man. It's God King TV, man. I'm Patai. You already know what it is. Tune in. Chill.
I'ma stay touching all kinds of paper, and I ain't never gonna give a fuck about a hater, cause I know I got soul, baby. Baby, I'm gonna shine forever, and I'ma stay touching on that wood and leather, cause